Tamar Braxton said that she woke up in a pool full of blood with missing teeth and a fractured nose.
He ain't God, but through him, my relationship with money changed.
And what is that? Break that down.
It's not my problem.
What do you mean?
It's not my problem, it's his problem. And it always.
Tamar Braxton just dropped a bombshell that has the entire internet scrambling for answers. And baby, the timeline is messy. She says she almost died, was found in a pool of blood with a fractured nose and missing teeth, and doesn't even remember what happened. That's not just a scare, that's a mystery begging to be solved. Now, here's where it gets sticky. The night before, Tamar was out celebrating with Funky Dineva, and hours later, she's posting that she nearly lost her life. The vibes are off, the details are thin, and the questions are loud. Before we dive deep, if you live for the real tea, not the watered-down press releases, hit like, drop a comment with your theory, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist. Because in this story, every time you think it's over, another piece of the puzzle falls out the sky. And tonight, we're connecting the dots the industry hopes you overlook. Is this a tragic accident, a spiraling pattern, or the ugliest part of fame finally breaking through the surface? Let's get into it carefully.
I don't know what happened to the lady.
We went out. What night that was? We went out. Saturday night. We went out Saturday night. We went to the Roof Chris. We ate. We had a good time. She was like, let's turn up for your birthday. We went down to the B12. Shouts out to Vinny and all the people at B12. That's the video y'all saw. Or whatever, with us walking in, them making a whole lot of noise. We left there. We all got in the car together. Car dropped us off at Tamar house. I didn't go upstairs. I went to my car. I went and met James Knox at BJ Rooster, and I came home.
But honestly, the public timeline is already doing acrobatics. We have a celebratory night out dinner, a club, a birthday vibe. Then within hours, Tamar is allegedly too weak to talk and asking for prayers. The very next morning, per what's been circulating, a text goes out reportedly asking for a high-profile dentist number emergency veneers territory before the larger near-death details hit social. Do you see why fans' antennas are buzzing? If this were just a slip-and-fall situation, wouldn't the story be clean, quick, and boring? Instead, we've got a health crisis wrapped in silence, followed by a swirl of what really happened. Meanwhile, the audience isn't dumb. People are clocking how image control works. When injuries are described as life-threatening and memory is foggy, but there's also a race to fix teeth, viewers wonder if a private medical drama collided with a public narrative. None of that proves anything sinister, but it makes the internet sprint toward the gaps, and gaps are where rumors multiply.
You cannot honestly expect somebody to just stand by you and eat this up for the sake of you doing a project. And your project layout could still be on track. Could still be on track. And I don't know why you being so stubborn about it.
Next day when I woke up, I had a text message from Tamar at 10 in the morning that said, can you give me Dr. Heavenly phone number?
Enter Funky Dineva, stage left, holding a can of gasoline. The way he addressed the situation, cold as ice. He reportedly kept calling Tamar the lady, which is wild considering they were just out together for his birthday. Not my friend, not Tamar, not even sis the lady. That kind of detachment doesn't make you guilty of anything, but it reads like a preemptive alibi to a suspicious public. He laid out where he went, when he left, who he met afterward, a tidy breadcrumb trail, while pointedly declining to claim proximity to whatever happened upstairs later. Fans took that as, I'm not in it, stamped in bold. Then the theories started. Is this just Funky being funky, or is there a deeper reason to create daylight between himself and a breaking crisis? His tone poured jet fuel on a conversation that was already burning. In a story where details are scarce, attitude becomes evidence, and his attitude is what people can't stop replaying. Now, here's where the spiritual smoke starts to swirl. Tamar has talked about battling demons, leaning on private faith rather than church, and hearing God in intimate, personal moments. That's her testimony. But then, in a different moment that sent comment sections into meltdown, Toni Braxton reportedly brushed off Bible study with a hot-button line about the Bible being written by racist white men. Y'all, you know the internet snatched that clip and ran a full marathon. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't just about injuries. It turned into a family split over faith and a larger question. Is this physical harm, spiritual warfare, or both? It's giving two different worldviews under one roof. When fans sense internal friction, especially around religion and protection, they start mapping cause to belief. Again, none of this proves any one thing, but spiritually charged language plus public pain equals maximum virality.
Told you. Leave them people alone. Find you some people that really believe in you. Find you some people who like you for real. Find you some people who want to pour into you. For real, pour into you. Find you some good people. And not pour into your ego. Because that's another word. That's Monday. I'm going to hold that for Monday. But really pour into you. Leave your enemy or you're out.
And in that storm, nuance gets blown away. This is not Tamar's first brush with catastrophe. That's why the deja vu feels so heavy. Years back, she was hospitalized after being found unresponsive. Later, she opened up about mental health, pressure, and a moment where she nearly didn't make it. She's also dealt with serious illness, tour stress, and family fractures that played out under fluorescent reality television lights. That history matters, because it puts this new crisis in a longer arc. The audience remembers. They remember the hotel, the headlines, the hospital updates, and the confessions after the fact. When you stack all that next to, "I almost died and don't remember," people default to patterns. Is she okay? Is she safe? Is she being protected? A person can be strong and still be vulnerable, rich and still be fragile, famous and still not insulated from chaos. So when fans say this feels like a pattern, it's not a drag, it's concern. And yet, the rumor mill is doing backflips. A 9-door hallway of theories, some plausible, some outlandish, all unverified. In one corner, people imagine a simple medical event like a seizure or fainting spell that led to a devastating fall. In another corner, the conspiracists raise plastic surgery gone left and a scramble to repair the cosmetic fallout before the PR narrative locked in. Then there's the dark arts crowd, floating talk of failed rituals and spiritual blowback after a night out in a city where celebrity and occult rumors often share a table. These are internet theories repeat, internet theories. But they spread because the official narrative is fog. When a story lacks clear edges, audiences carve their own. And once those theories get a head start, facts have to sprint to catch up. That's the cost of mystery in a media ecosystem allergic to silence. Let's talk circles, because who's around you matters almost as much as what happens to you. The names drifting through the rumor stream aren't random, exes with complicated histories, long-standing rivals whose shade occasionally turned tactical, industry friends who are messy one day and loyal the next. That constellation fuels the fan detective work. People start connecting old beefs to new bruises, imagining how jealousy, money, clout, and grudges could collide on a night that spirals. Again, this is map-making on the internet, not a police report. But if you're wondering why the speculation runs so hot, it's because the cast of characters is familiar and the drama has receipts in other chapters. When fans see the same players pop up every few years around a very different kind of emergency, they start to think it's the same movie with new lighting. And then, there's the dental twist that refuses to leave the chat. If, as circulated, a call for a star dentist came before the public learned the full gravity of the injuries, fans ask, why a veneer doc first? It could be simple teeth were shattered, and pain plus panic made dental triage the priority. Or, if you're living in the rumor lane, it feeds a cosmetic cover-up theory. Fix the face fast, then figure out the story. In celebrity life, your smile is brand equity. Harming it is both physically traumatic and economically costly. So yes, of course a top dentist might get a 10 a.m. text, but the sequence, placed next to a near-death narrative, creates friction. And friction is what produces heat online. The truth may be mundane triage, panic, logistics, yet the optics were ripe for suspicion. Zooming out, this is a masterclass in how an ambiguous crisis morphs into a cultural Rorschach test. Everyone projects. The deeply religious frame it as spiritual warfare. The skeptics frame it as celebrity spin. The wellness crowd calls for therapy and boundaries. The PR detectives dissect timestamps and captions like they're CSI. And then there's Funky Dineva's chilly tone, which keeps the storyline from collapsing into sympathy alone. His detachment becomes a character in the plot, making people wonder, did he sense a storm coming, or is that just his way? Meanwhile, Tamar's words, "I almost died. I don't know what happened. Pray for me. Keep the stakes high and the details low." That's a perfect storm for retention, virality, and chaos, which is exactly why we're still talking. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. When pain goes public, it pays. Not always directly, not always right away, and never without cost, but it increases attention, engagement, leverage, and, yes, scrutiny. If Tamar returns stronger, books shows, sells music, and commands new deals, this will have doubled as trauma and pivot. That doesn't mean she staged anything. It means the entertainment economy is a hungry machine that eats moments like this. And if Funky's comments spawn think pieces, lives, and clapbacks, he'll ride the same wave in the opposite direction. The incentives are misaligned with healing, the timeline is misaligned with clarity, and the audience is left to do what it always does: build a narrative tall enough to climb and see over the wall. So, where does that leave us? With empathy, skepticism, and a checklist. Empathy, because whatever happened, those injuries are real and brutal. Skepticism, because the timeline is jagged and the vibes are off. And a checklist: watch the follow-ups. Look for consistent details across platforms. Note who rallies around Tamar privately versus loudly. Pay attention to legal language if it appears restraining orders, investigations, insurance. If the story is simple, it will stabilize. If it's bigger, it will leak in pieces through reconciliations, sudden fallouts, or a lone, inconvenient receipt that refuses to die. Until then, we're stuck between a terrifying accident and a darker reading that the internet can't stop feeding. Either way, wellness first. Because fame doesn't care if you're healed, it only cares if you're trending. And that's the scariest part of all. And here's the deeper layer fans can't ignore. Every time Tamar faces a health scare, it never exists in a vacuum. It's always paired with public fights, family feuds, or an enemy lurking in the background. That's why people speculate she may be targeted spiritually or socially. Some believe her openness about hearing God in private moments is her way of signaling protection, while others think it's a cry for help wrapped in mystery. The truth could be both. Tamar has long existed in the tension between vulnerability and resilience, and that's why this moment feels like deja vu. It's not just about what happened, it's about the pattern of darkness surrounding her at pivotal times. But fans aren't just analyzing Tamar, they're also dissecting Funky Dineva's role like it's a season finale plot twist. The way he listed every stop of his night almost sounded rehearsed, like someone trying to get ahead of a scandal before it spirals, and the internet doesn't let that slide. Some argue Funky's shade was his way of signaling disapproval of Tamar's choices or the company she kept that night. Others whisper he knows exactly what went down, but refuses to attach his brand to it. Either way, his response didn't cool the rumors, it supercharged them. And when a celebrity commentator becomes part of the story instead of outside of it, fans treat it like a clue, not a coincidence. At the end of the day, Tamar's story lingers because it refuses to close. Was this just a horrifying accident, an unexplained medical emergency, or something far more sinister playing out behind the scenes? That's the cliffhanger the public is left holding, and if history has taught us anything, it's that Tamar rarely stays quiet for long. Whether through cryptic posts, sudden revelations, or a tell-all that shakes the table, another piece of the puzzle will drop. Until then, the mystery hangs heavy, the rumors spiral louder, and Tamar remains caught between survival and speculation. And you can bet this saga is far from over.